You know that we knock 'em down. CDT, CDT, CDT. Yeah, we know we knock 'em down. CDT, you know we knock 'em down. 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 Yeah, knock 'em down. Yeah, knock 'em down. CDT, knock 'em down. CDT, CDT. Oh yeah, you know that we knock 'em down. CDT, CDT.
What up, YouTube? It is your boy Big Cool coming to you from Colossal Boxing Talk. Here with a special guest, my fellow CBT brother who is on father duty at the hospital. His beautiful wife gave birth to their child. My boy John JG on the other line. Talk to the people, JG.
What's up, everybody? I appreciate everybody who sent me congratulations, and I really appreciate it. And I'm just, I'm blessed right now.
Hey man, and we happy for you. We glad that y'all's beautiful little angel is finally here, and this is a joyous moment for you all. And we wish y'all nothing but happiness from here on out. I know throughout the day we had some not heated discussions, but some great back and forth discussions about the myth of avoided fighters and who is really avoided and who are the ones that's doing the avoiding. You had a couple guys that you would like to mention in this video. So why don't you start by naming your first guy who you want to talk about?
Well, before I start naming names, I think that there's a fine line between being avoided and I'm not going to say being protected, but I'm going to say overusing the term avoided. Pretty much overusing the word avoided just to make yourself seem more important than you really are. And I've been having this discussion with you, Smooth Cat, and Benny H. Benny H talked about this a little bit too, but a couple of guys that we're talking about, I know Smooth Cat's not going to agree with this, but I think Triple G's one of them. I think that Keith Thurman is one of them. I believe that Laura is one of the avoided guys, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. I think that Kovalev was an avoided guy, but he's somehow making things happen now. So, those are my guys right now who everybody says are the most avoided guys. They always point to Keith Thurman, they always point to Triple G, but I think that there are guys out there that are willing to fight those guys. That's just how I feel right now.
All right, I'm going to take a name out of one of those two guys and ask you this question. Why do you feel that Gennady Golovkin is avoided or isn't avoided? Why do you feel he is one of these guys that you chose? Is it because of the praise people are giving him and really not just paying attention to like the business side of boxing, or what is in your opinion why he shouldn't be believed as the most avoided guy in boxing?
Well, this is what I'm going to say. And I know a lot of people are going to be mad at me, and they're going to be pissed off. But oh well, you know what? It's time to stop beating around the bush. I'm becoming a Triple G fan, but at this point, he's 33 years old. It's time to make moves. Now, the one thing that I've noticed is that now they're talking about cleaning out 160, right? Mm-hmm. Well, he's 33 years old, and he's supposed to be an avoided fighter. He's already a champion. So if you're so avoided, right, and you want to be great, why not just move up to 168 and want to clean up 168? Because I'm pretty sure that there are a ton of guys at 168 that will fight you. The thing about avoided fighters is either you move up to fight people who won't avoid you, or you fight avoided guys. And I don't think that that's happening for Golovkin. So at this point, when is he going to make stuff happen for his career? When is his team going to? Because he's 33 years old. The time is ticking.
If I could jump in for a minute, I definitely agree because you make a good point. You got to make something happen for yourself. in life in general. But when you're trying to be great and be a Hall of Famer, build a legacy to be remembered after your fighting days are long over, you have to take the necessary risk to be great. Obviously, if he really wanted a Quillen fight, I mean, it can happen. I know he and Quillen aren't on the level of Mayweather Pacquiao, but if the fight is really that much anticipated and wanted to see, I'm pretty sure that Al Heyman, who is not working with Showtime, I mean, so to speak, like that, and Quillen is not a contracted Showtime fighter, he could easily fight on on HBO and make that fight happen. That's a fight where I see both guys should at least walk away with 2.5, 3 million because it's a big fight. It would have been a unification bout, but that's one of the top fights at 160 people would like to see. Same with Canelo Alvarez. If he want that fight, he says he want it. If he want that fight, he can make it happen. Now I understand if Golden Boy isn't willing to fight, then you move on. Then you go up to dang on 168, like you mentioned. You got DeGale, you got Anthony Durrell. Whether you think highly of those guys or not, they're still good tests to see what his skills really are. You got Ward, of course, the fight we want to see. We got Groves, you got Badu Jack. Laugh at that name all you want. I mean, he shows something against Anthony Durrell, so you never know where your stiffest challenges will lie until you get in the ring and face those guys.
I truly agree with that, man. And I guess that another one. I named his name, but Keith Thurman is another one, dude. Keith Thurman, like, I'm not gonna say that. I don't know. There's a ton of guys at 147.
Yep.
But I'm not gonna say that Keith wouldn't fight anybody or he's ducking anybody, because he's definitely not. He's shown that he has heart for days, and I love Keith Thurman as a fighter. But the one thing that I'm noticing about people is that Earl Spence just called him out, or didn't call him out, but named him, and all of a sudden he's a bad guy. That's a fight. He's not worth it. What has he done? Well, that's the same thing that people are saying about Thurman. So. And then you do the same thing to other people. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. That's a double standard. That's one of the double standards that we always talk about.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it's like the whole thing about deserving and not deserving certain fighters or certain fights kind of is a head scratching one, because so what if we don't feel he's ready? If a fighter is calling for Keith Thurman or Floyd Mayweather and they feel that they can fight, they can beat him, and there's a fight that can be made, why criticize the fighter? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we want to see true, natural, progression and growth throughout their career. But if they're confident in their abilities and they know what they're getting themselves into, if Errol Spence want to take on Keith Thurman, whether we feel he's ready or not, he's entitled to say, Al, hey, let's make that fight happen, or whoever he's with, his manager and promotional team, let's make that happen. I believe I can beat him. And it should be like that. We criticize fighters for taking on soft touches for too long. Deontay Wilder, Spence to a certain extent. But then when they say they want to fight somebody like after 12 fights, oh, you're not ready. You're gonna get destroyed. Well, which is it? Do you want them to slowly take the road of Andre Ward, who was matched slowly as hell, or do you want them to jump in with hell, even though this guy hasn't had as much success as he would like, Darnell Boone, you know what I'm saying? There's a fine line between, just being a true boxing fan that's understandable, or just being a dude or a female that's nitpicking every single thing, because you're not going to get everything your way. What do you feel about that?
Well, I kind of feel like you can't say that nobody wants to fight you. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah. There are willing guys, even if they're young, even if they're, Lomachenko won for a title fight after his second fight. You can't tell me, and you know what I'm saying, he's been whooping ass ever since. Yeah. You can't tell me that, you haven't had this certain amount of fights, you ain't ready. Well, how do you know unless you get in there? And my thing is, if Keith and his team feel like they can spark Spence ass, then go ahead and get that easy money. Go whoop his ass. If you say nobody wants to fight you, prove that. But don't give the same treatment that you claim everybody's giving you to somebody else.
Yep.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, because Keith, like I said, everybody pretty much from CBT love Keith Thurman as a fighter. But like, as I said in our group message, you can't really fight. You can't be fighting one elite guy every 3 fights. You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of defeating the purpose. You know, you can't fight a Guerrero. You know, fight a Diaz first, then you fight a Guerrero or Bundu, then Guerrero, and then now you fighting Collazo. Keith Thurman said in the interview I read on Boxing Scene, Collazo was the guy that stepped up. Are you sure? Are you sure that's the only guy that stepped up, or was it Al Heyman or your team lowballing them or whatever it was? I mean, like I said, Keith Thurman is a great young fighter, or a very good young fighter, with a lot of potential. But let's not insult the boxing fans and the public. You know, intelligence with trying to play that. Well, you know, I can call out whoever I want, whether I'm ready or not, but can't nobody ever, you know, fix their mouth to say, well, I want to fight Keith Thurman with 14 fights. I mean, it just doesn't work that way, and it kind of he should just stop that and just fight who he gonna fight, and let those fights come to him if that's how he want to, you know, go down the path of his career. But you can't knock one man for wanting to test himself against a guy who he views as an elite fighter.
You know what? I want to see the fight. Personally, I want to see Spencer Thurman, if that's what it takes. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna find something. We're gonna find something out about one of these guys, and that's what we don't get enough of these days. You don't get enough of the young guys proving themselves. See, at this point, like I got to disagree with something you said about, I guess, about Thurman, you know, like every 3, you know, saying taking a tough fight, and maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Mm-hmm. But at this point, he's trying to prove that he's great. So Guerrero was really his first, you know what I'm saying? That's what opened the gateways, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Of people everybody seeing Keith Thurman. Now it's time for you to put your foot on the damn gas. Now it needs to be somebody tougher than Guerrero. Yeah. And then it needs to be that Floyd or whoever that fight is, then you're the man. And now people got to come to you. That's how it should be.
Yeah, that's what basically I was saying is like he go from fighting Guerrero to Collazo, who was whitewashed by Amir Khan. I mean, because he constantly has Amir Khan's name in his mouth, Marcos Maidana's name in his mouth. I mean, he might have spoken of Devin Alexander, who I seen an interview a couple weeks ago, who said he would like to fight Keith Thurman. And I know he had, who else named Adrian Broner. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he should, you know, just whatever, you know, be able to just say, okay, fight Guerrero and whatever. Yeah, but you fight Guerrero, then you fight Collazo. I mean, it's kind of contradicting yourself because you keep calling Khan out. You mentioned Maidana, you mentioned Broner and Alexander, but where are those guys met? They all available except Broner and maybe Khan, but Alexander is available. I mean, somebody like that who is solid, I mean, will test you in a different way than, you know, the other guys I mentioned would. But Collazo, I mean, that's all I'm saying.
No, I totally agree, and I'll even throw out another name. And this, I mean, you know what? Kell Brook is chilling. You know what I'm saying? At this point, well, I mean, I know that Keith has a fight in July, but what I'm saying is, why did it have to be July? You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew a couple of guys are going to free up. You just had I mean, I guess it is to stay active. So I can't get mad at the staying active. But the stepping backwards part is what I kind of have a problem with, because he needs to be having his foot on the gas. And see, now you're put in a situation where your stock could drop. It's not going to get any better from fighting Collazo. Because look at Laura and Rodriguez at this point. He fought a stay active fight to get Rodriguez, and you know, he won a lackluster 12-round performance. And look at what we're saying about Laura. So, I mean, you can't. I mean, I don't know. But what I will say is, Spence. I think Spence is ready. After this, you know, maybe they should look at a Spence fight. But you can't. But what I'm saying is, I'm jumping out in front of it now because I see it happen. Please, keep Thurman's team. Do not do the same thing that you're saying everybody else is doing. I hate to repeat myself, but that's what it is.
Hey, you heard it from the man himself, Chris Getty. When you see this, you see this video, hopefully you watch it, man. Pass that along to Al Heyman and let him know that, don't be a product of what we seen so much in boxing, where you talk a big game and then you still fighting these BC level fighters who has no chance. So, anything else you want to say, JG, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, and don't by any means anybody believe that I'm criticizing these guys. I'm not criticizing them. But what I'm saying is, stop with the whole avoided, tags. Like, at this point, it's about either you avoid it or you're waiting for your time. Yeah, I think that these guys are waiting for their time. When you're avoided, Paul Williams was avoided. He had to move up. Margarito was avoided. He had to move up. Winky was avoided. So he had to fight other avoided guys. Am I missing somebody? Who else was avoided?
Sergio.
And Sergio was avoided. You know what I'm saying? Hell, Kelly Pavlik was avoided a little bit.
I was just about to say that.
He had to start knocking some heads off, and then he became the man, and then he got his head knocked off. So,
But you see how they made each guy better, even though Paul Williams done fought twice, it made them better when it came time to fight these other top guys because they were already battle tested. So, like I said, we're not criticizing Gennady Golovkin or Keith Thurman. We just being real and acknowledging, using your brain to look outside of just what everybody else says, because you can't just agree with what everybody else says. You got to do your research and really think outside the box and like, these guys willing to fight for the right money, or are they willing to fight, period? Let's make it happen and stop waiting on the Floyd fight or a Ward fight or whoever it may be, the top guy in that division or division above or, under you. So just make these fights happen and stop with the talk if you don't have no intentions on fighting these guys, man. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap it up. We appreciate y'all listening.
There's one thing I forgot. There's one thing that we forgot to talk about that we talked about before this.
Okay.
But Sergey Kovalev was also one guy that was seen as avoided.
Okay.
And now Sergey Kovalev is in a position where he's the man. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
His team, he found ways to make things work. Now he's beating the brakes off of top level fighters, and he's the man, and now people got to come to him. That's how you make it work. If you feel you avoid it, go make things happen. That's how you do it. But don't sit back and say, I'm going to clean out a division. No. Or if you're going to clean out the division, then go find a way to make it happen. If you're waiting on them, that's not a smart choice. Go make things happen. If you got to move up, you got to move up. If you got to meet somebody else's demands, you got to meet somebody else's demands. If y'all got to have a long negotiation, y'all got to have a long negotiation. But, stop with the whole I'm avoided thing, because I'm pretty sure if things will work out at that table right enough, then you're going to have the fights that you want. But that's just me talking. I'm nobody special. I'm just a guy from CBT that loves boxing.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm going to speak before JG. He very qualified to say what he said. He makes perfect sense. And if you got a problem with it, that means you just got a problem with the truth. And that's just a personal problem for you all. So we're going to wrap it up. My boy JG, took the show on the road live from the hospital, doing this thing. And until next time, we out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, Colossal Boxing Talk, Colossal CBT. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Give us your opinion. Remember to listen to the video and listen to what we said before, coming back with your comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, head over to Facebook, hit that like button on that CBT page. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Colossal CBT. And until next time, we out. Peace.
Peace.